Okay, so as I promised, here are a few examples of naming haloalkanes. Okay, and in the first example, you can see we don't actually have an alkane. We've got two carbons. One of these carbons, instead of a hydrogen, has a chlorine. So this would be a chloro, but instead of an alkane, it's an alkene because of the double bond. So this is a chloroalkene. And in this case, they are two, which makes this ethene. Okay, and if we number now the carbon chain so that we can get the chlorine, since it's on the end, I don't need to write one chloro, but I could. One chloroethene. Okay, and that would be one word. One chloroethene. Fairly easy. Okay, again, just remember that we start numbering the chain so that my my chlorine is at the nearest end. In the next one, we see it looks similar, but now I've got a 3-carbon chain is the longest chain, and I've got then 2 branches out here. Now notice we could choose these 3, but here's also a 3-carbon chain going vertically up, but this carbon chain does not have the chlorine in, so the standard would be to choose the longest carbon chain that contains your halogen. Okay, so this will be a propane. Okay, and we should, however, start numbering from and in this case, even though it has branches, the halogen gets preeminence. We start numbering so that he is at the closest end. In that case, this would be number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay, so when we add the branches, remember the chloro that we will write will be the first thing we write. So before the propane, we should write the methyls. So this is a dimethyl. A dimethyl propane. Why dimethyl? Because there's 2 methyl groups, that's why di. And now the number of those methyl groups are at number 2 and number 2, the number 2 carbon. And then in front of this we will have a chloro. So it's 1 chloro 2,2 dimethyl propane. Fairly simple. Okay, here we have a 4 carbons, a 4-carbon chain. I can see if I were to number this one, I should start numbering here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my first carbon contains both a chloro and a bromo. Okay, and we can see there's 2 bromos as well. So which one would I write first, bromo or chloro? And I would go alphabetically. So I'll start by writing this is butane, because there's 4 carbons. Okay, this is then a bromo. I'll write bromo first, but because there's 2 bromines, it would be dibromo. And I will have 1 on 1 and 1 on 2, so it's 1, 2 dibromo, 1 chloro butane. So again, just notice I numbered. Okay, and I don't number, so if there was another bromine here, I wouldn't start numbering on this side, because this bromine might be closer to this side. I would have, if there wasn't a bromine here but there was a bromine here, then I would number on the side that I would name first. Now I would name the bromine first. Okay, and so I would start numbering here 1, 2, 3, and I wouldn't start numbering here even though there's also a halogen on that side, because this one is named second. But the first preeminence goes to the starting at the number where I have my first halogen encountered. So if I start on this side, I'll have my first halogen encountered on the number 1 carbon. So that's great to start numbering from there. And on that number 1 we have both bromo and chloro. Okay, here comes another one that at face value might look easy, but there's a few complications in it. Okay. The one thing is that we have a cyclo, we have a ring here, so this is a cyclopropene. Okay, because we have a double bond, it's a propene. Now, usually in cyclopropenes, we don't need to number the carbons, okay, because you can really start anywhere numbering, so we wouldn't need to number the carbons, but in this case we do need to number the carbons because of the halogens in there. We need to indicate which carbons get the halogens. Now I'll number giving the halogens preeminence, okay, above the propene, so halogens will get preeminence. And which one of the two? So will I start numbering this one with a 1 or this halogen with a 1? And I'll start with the 1 I'll write first. I'll go alphabetically. So this carbon gets numbered number 1. Okay. And now in which direction am I going to go? Well, I'll go in the direction to get to my next halogen as quick as possible. So the next halogen would be, this would be number 2. So I'll go clockwise. So when I do that, now all of a sudden my propene has a position, so I have to go and write my propene with its position in now, which is at number 2. So this is prop 2-ene, and it's a cycloproptene, and on it I have 1 bromo, 2 chloro, cycloproptene. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so, and that is really as difficult as they can come as far as I know, or at least as far as you will encounter. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you are excited to try it yourself. Good luck.